We gather together today as the dear family and friends of Klara Rozichneru. As we mourn her loss, we must also celebrate the full, rich life she led. Death has taken our beloved Klara. Friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For her love that united us in life, and which death cannot sever. For her companionship which we shared along life's path, and which still continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and her mind, which brought us joy and happiness, and now become a precious heritage of the Spirit. For all these and more, God, we give you our praise. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai Natan, Banai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevarach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people were well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us. Yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and there is strength in faith. With Job we say, Adonai Natan, God you have given. You gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For all was good and enduring in her life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Proverbs 31. Eshet chayil mi yimsa rechok midi mikra. A woman of valor who can find. She's more precious than fine pearls. Her husband trusts in her, and so he lacks nothing. She does him good, never harm, all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends her hands to the poor. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom. The law of kindness is on her lips. Her children rise up and bless her. Her family sings her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you excel them all. A poem entitled My Hereafter. Do not come when I am dead to sit beside a low green mound or bring the first daffodils, because I love them so. For I shall not be there. You cannot find me there. I will look up at you from the eyes of little children. I will bend to meet you in the swaying boughs of bud-thrilled trees and caress you with the passionate sweep of storm-filled winds. I will give you strength in your upward tread of everlasting hills. I will cool your tired body in the flow of the river. I will warm your work-glorified hands to the glow of the winter fire. I will soothe you into forgetfulness to the drop of the rain on the roof. I will speak to you out of the rhymes of the masters. I will dance with you in the lilt of the violin and make your heart leap with the bursting cadence of the organ. I will flood your soul with the flaming radiance of the sunrise and bring you peace in the tender rose and gold of the after sunset. All these have made me happy. They are part of me, and I shall be a part of them. A poem by Kathy Zink. Take time to talk, for you may ask of all things unknown to you. Take time to laugh, for smiles relinquish sorrow and spread happiness. Take time to think, for the realm of knowledge is never ending. Take time to see, for there is beauty in every part of the world around you. Take time to feel, for the emotions of your heart often control the reasoning of your mind. Take time to live, for each day is filled with new opportunities that will be gone tomorrow. Take time to dream, for survival is forever challenging the powers of your imagination. Take time to love, for the sharing of all these things is the true miracle of life. Psalm 23. Adonai ro'i lo exar, bino desha yar bitzeni, almei minachot yanachaleni. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, and restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. The Baal Shem Tov, the Hasidic Rebbe, once observed that there are 3 ways to mourn. The first is with tears, the second is with silence, and the third is with song. When we mourn someone truly beloved, we experience all 3. Tears at first, then silence as our grief settles more deeply, and finally song as we're able to celebrate the memories we hold deep in our hearts. So today is a time for tears as we say our final goodbyes to Klara. We'll each remember Klara in our own way. Claire was a loving mother to Rima and Myron of blessed memory, to Luba and Mark, Raya and Edward, and your children, Gary and Katya, Marina, Alex, Nellie and Joshua, Rima and Joshua, and Nathaniel and Jessica. Remember Klara as a beloved grandmother. And Klara was also an adoring great-grandmother to her 6 great-grandchildren. Klara had many cousins, but she was especially close with her cousin Raya, who was like a sister to her. Klara was born in Kamrat, a small town in Romania, on July 22, 1925, to Nissel and Frima Teuber. She had one older brother, Alexander. Klara's father had a nice position, and the family was very intelligent and well-educated. Klara and Alexander had a nice upbringing. They had a big family with many cousins, and they were very close. Klara finished gymnasium in Kamrat. She spoke Romanian, Russian, Yiddish, and later English. When the war started, her family was evacuated to Uzbekistan. Alexander was already away in the army. Both Klara's mother and father died on the train during the evacuation. She stayed with her aunt and her uncle. After the war, they returned to their town, which was now part of the Ukraine, and renamed Chernovtsi. And it was here that Klara met her beloved Zunya, and they got married. They moved to a small Jewish shtetl, Besivabka, in Moldavia. Did I say it right? Besarabka, in Moldavia. They lived there for 20 years, and all 3 of their daughters were born there. Klara stayed home when the girls were young, but when they became a little older, she went back to work in accounting. And they moved to another city, Benderi, where Klara had a very good job, and the family made lots of friends. Klara's brother Alex never returned from the war, and they had no contact from 1950 until 1972 due to Soviet restrictions. Klara made contact with someone in Israel who then found her brother here in the United States. In 1979, Alex sent them a request to come to the United States, and Klara brought her whole family right here to Cleveland. Alex helped them get settled and was so happy to see them. It was as if he and Klara had just seen each other yesterday. They shared such a special reunion. Klara adapted to life in America very well, and she loved being here. She went to school to learn English, and she volunteered at JCC and Menorah Park for many years. Klara helped new Russians who came to Cleveland and helped translate for older people at Menorah Park. She got very involved in a Russian choir club for many years. Klara loved to sing, and she made friends through this group. They got together and entertained at Menorah Park. Klara was always active. She couldn't stay home. She was a very strong and independent woman and wanted to do things for herself. Klara used to walk to the old Mayfield JCC for her English lessons, and she volunteered with a senior adult group there. She helped with their bookkeeping for lunches and for trips. Klara loved to read. She always had a book with her. She especially loved Danielle Steele and read every one of the author's new books when they came out. Klara's family bought her a computer, and she became addicted to Facebook. She wanted to learn to use it so she would know what her children and grandchildren were doing, and she could communicate with her grandchildren. And Klara liked to travel. She went to Israel several times and to Prague, and she traveled to Florida and New York, even up to a few years ago. Klara's favorite phrase was, "I love life. I want so much to live." She so wanted to help celebrate her cousin Raya's 95th birthday. Klara was the matriarch of this family. She was an amazing mother and grandmother. She had a clear mind and was only sick for the last 2 weeks. Klara died surrounded by her loving family, and they shared beautiful moments. She shared beautiful moments with each of them before her death. So today may be a time for tears. We're saddened by the loss of Klara, but we learned so much from her, especially how to care for one another. Let these tears serve to strengthen and uphold you as a family. There's a story in our tradition about a rabbi who once passed an old woman planting trees. "Old woman," he called, "why are you planting those trees? You'll never live to see them blossom." But the woman replied, "My ancestors planted trees, not for themselves, but for us, that we might enjoy their shade and their fruit. I too do the same for all those who will come after me." Klara planted an orchard for each one of us, an orchard filled with devotion and with love, and these will always be here for us. We must be grateful that we're able to share in her life. Tomorrow there'll be fewer tears, more silence. As the Baal Shem Tov noted, it will be a time of pondering, time of contemplation. Klara will become a greater part of our characters and our beings as we integrate the memories and the values she taught us into our own selves. But finally there'll come a time for song. The time will come we can celebrate Klara, when we recall all that we learned from her and how she touched each of our lives. May she rest in peace. Zecher Siracha Livracha. May the memory of Klara Rozichneru be a blessing. Amen. I'd now like to invite Raya to speak on behalf of the daughters, Klara's daughters, and then we'll hear from Klara's grandchildren.
Thank you. You did so beautifully. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Спасибо вам всем. Спасибо вам всем, что вы пришли сюда. Даже не ожидали. Это была такая последняя минута. Я сообщила всем ее бабушкам и старушкам, но так как это случилось в пятницу вечером, некому было больше звонить. Извините нас за это, за все, но все равно ее все будут помнить. Последние 6 недель мы проводили с ней все время. Последнюю неделю мы сидели, менялись возле ее, держали ее за руки, говорили с ней. И эти были последние минуты нашей жизни. Она прожила очень хорошую жизнь со всеми окруженными ее людьми, детьми, внуками, правнуками. Она была очень счастлива. Она нас всех очень-очень любила. Если я еще найду, где я тут писала. Называла нас нашей девочки до последней минуты. Любила очень своих зятьев, Марика, Эдика, Мирона. Она их всех очень любила. Она была добрейшей души человек, очень открытый, очень любила друзей, очень любила делать новых друзей, новых встреч. Я сидела возле ее постели по ночам, и я с ней говорила, и я делала поинты, я ей рассказывала, что я о ней скажу, и какая она будет, и никак не могу собраться с мыслью об этом. Мама была наше самое старшее поколение. Мы были blessed иметь ее в нашей жизни так долго. Мы настолько привыкли, что у нас есть кто-то старше нас, что кто-то нам даст советы, что кто-то нам всегда поможет, что мы даже не задумывались, что в какой-то момент ее не будет рядом с нами. Она была корень нашей семьи, она нас всех держала, она нас всех сплотила. Мы очень дружные, мы все любим друг друга, дети ее обожали. У нас было очень много традиций, которые были именно нашей семьи, именно с нашей мамой. У нас была очень хорошая традиция, когда раз в году, неделю перед Пуром, мы все девочки собирались вместе, и мы пекли все сладости и хументашин. И потом раздавали всем нашим детям и внукам. Они так любили это, они так ждали бабушкиных хументашин. So you guys have to just remember her hamantashen. We are not going to bake them for you anymore, but you will remember all your life her hamantashen. Этот день был для нас очень тяжелым. Мы пекли целый день, мы готовили, мы стояли на ногах. Мама с Фирой спорили о том, какие ингредиенты должны пойти, а мы с Любой были на побегушках, мешали, варили. К вечеру мы так уставали, но мы садились вечером, кушали все свои сладости и были очень-очень хэппи. Этот день, наверное, запомнится у нас на всю жизнь. Теперь он тоже от нас ушел. Но это хорошо, это будет наша память о ней. Мама очень гордилась нами, очень гордилась нашими детьми, очень гордилась всеми их достижениями. Она должна была все знать, она должна была знать каждую минуту, где мы находимся, что мы делаем, что дети делают и что происходит. И она и на Facebook записалась только для того, чтобы знать, где все дети находятся, потому что мы ей говорили, что мам, ты хочешь быть прогрессивной? Давай. Она научилась этому компьютеру, научилась все нам посылать текст-месседжи, научилась скайпу, чтобы она нас видела каждый день. Она всегда будет в наших сердцах. Мы ее будем помнить. Она очень, очень добрый, дорогой, любимый нам человек. Она частицу своего сердца оставила во всех детях и во всех нас. Так что она всегда будет с нами. У нас было очень два хороших момента, про которые говорил Рабай. Она пришла в себя, она узнала каждого ребенка, она назвала каждого ребенка по имени. И мы все держали ее руки, когда она умерла. Это у меня старое. Мамочка очень любила жизнь и была очень оптимистичная. Мы ее никогда не забудем. Она всегда будет с нами, в каждом из нашем ребенке, во всех нас. Спи спокойно. Будь здорова, мамочка, мы тебя очень любим. Спасибо.
Моя Кора, подожди, стой со мной. Я хочу только сказать, что мама всегда держала нас всех в руках. Она держала нас настолько, что она должна была каждый день нам позвонить, услышать. Она говорит, если вы не хотите слышать мой голос, я должна слышать вас. Мы каждый день ей звонили. Мама, ты нас держала в руках, и ты умерла, держа наши руки. Так что спи спокойно. Мы тоже спокойны, что ты уже в хороших руках. Все.
Она будет рядом с дядей Сашей лежать, со своим родным, любимым братом. Она будет лежать рядом с папой и с Мироном. Так что у них будет очень хорошая компания. Они будут всегда вместе, и мы будем с ними. Спасибо вам большое, ребята. А тем, кто в Израиле смотрит нас сейчас и слушает, спасибо вам большое за все ваши соболезнования. Это было изумительно, сколько я получила. Большое спасибо.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Invite the grandchildren to come forward.
All right, I thought that the blood people should be first and than I, but I could say a few words. She was, like Raya said, like the rabbi said, very liked, loved by everyone that she came across. But it's also very interesting that she was very well respected. You earn respect. You don't get it. You don't get it for granted. She was so well respected as the founder of the family, as the person that we would go to, we would talk to. We enjoyed all the interactions we had with her. And you don't say that about too many mother-in-laws, but she was an exceptional woman. I've gone through a lot of documents, a lot of poetry, and I still cannot find anything better than this poem that I'm going to read to you. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it gives the best explanation of what life is, and it helps grieving. Although I'm not sure I agree with people before me. Grieve, yes, but I think we should celebrate her life more than we do anything else, because at 92 and a half, not having any serious major health problems, she just passed away. She was, it was just old age that took her, and she had a great life. She enjoyed her life, and we enjoyed being with her all the time. So let me just read this poem, and that will be the end of my presentation. They say it's by Anonymous. Birth is the beginning, and death is a destination. And life is a journey from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence and awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to desecration, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or from strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backwards or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high point along the way, but in having made the journey, step by step, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is the beginning, and death is a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred journey to life everlasting. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate all of you being here, and like I said, condolences, sure, that's typical, but I think we just celebrate that she was here, and that we were all touched by her in one way or another, and we are grateful to her for all those moments that we spent together. Thank you.
Now I'd like to invite the grandchildren, whoever wants to speak.
I'll be brief. Thank you, everybody. Grandma, I want to thank you as well. You were a fixture in all of our lives, all of your children and grandchildren. You were there with us through you danced at every birth, at every bar mitzvah, at every graduation, at every wedding, at every major life celebration. and you were there with us through every major life challenge. You will always remain a fixture in our hearts, in our memories, and we will always love you.
You have never met a woman who has radiated love and life like my grandma, and she was really good about letting you know it. So, and the way we know it is because we would walk around this city and keep running into people who said, "Hey, I just saw your grandma at Shalom House and she couldn't stop talking about you." And that happened all the time. And it's been a really, so this is actually the second grandma that we lost this month. And so it's been an interesting time in our family. I was just thinking about all the millions of examples of grandma really showing us how much she loved us. And the one, it's a little silly, but I think she would appreciate it if I told you this story, so I'm going to tell you this story. But so, all right, so it's fourth grade, right? So I'm probably, like 10, 11 years old. And Grandma used to make clothes for all of us. She used to knit us sweaters and scarves and socks, and they were awesome. She was the best. She made them warm and soft. She always used the best materials. She made the best sweaters. And she liked to personalize them a little bit for you, right? So one day she asked me, she said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And at the time, there used to be this show called Family Ties. Do you guys remember that show, Family Ties? Alex P. Keaton. So I used to want to be Alex P. Keaton when I was a kid. And I said, I want to be Alex P. Keaton, Grandma. And she goes, who's Alex P. Keaton? Because she doesn't watch shows. She didn't understand English anyway, so she wouldn't have watched the Family Ties show. I said, Alex Keaton from the show. That's who I want to be when I grow up. She goes, well, what did he do? And I said, well, he's going to be a stockbroker. So I want to be a stockbroker. She goes, what's a stockbroker? And I said, well, it's somebody who makes a lot of money. She goes, oh, okay, now I understand that. So Grandma made me this sweater that had my initials, AG, over here, and on the back was a big, giant dollar sign, right? A big black sweater with a big red dollar sign. And she showed it to me, and I was like, I don't know if I can wear this in public, Grandma. But I'm going to, because you made it. And I did, and I wore it all the time, actually. And then a few weeks later, there was this award ceremony, right? So fourth grade, fifth grade, whatever it was, and I won some award. And when they were talking about me, and it was time for me to go up to receive my award, I was walking. My parents and I were sitting all the way in the back of the gym, and it was packed with people. And the lady said, and on this day, I decided I was going to wear my grandma's sweater with the big dollar sign on the back. And when they announced me, and I moved down the aisle and I started walking up the thing, the lady says, and Alex wants to be a stockbroker when he grows up. And just then I turned around and there was this big dollar sign on my back, and the crowd went crazy. Everyone went nuts. And to this day, I still run into people who go, hey, remember that sweater your grandma made with a big dollar sign on the back? That made me very popular that year. And I wore that to school all the time. And so I remember those things about Grandma, right, really well. Anyway, Grandma, we will miss you. You were an amazing figure in our lives, and frankly, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. Both, in a biological sense and in a geographic sense. We would probably be in Moldova right now if it weren't for you and Alex getting together in the early 70s and deciding that we should come here. So thank you for that, and thank you for being awesome.
Our babushka was a very warm person, and it's a little colder now without her. And she was warm and full of love. She was full of love for people. She loved being around people, and she loved her family and her friends. She loved her children and her grandchildren. She was happy to be with us, and we were happy to see her happy. She made sure that we knew that she loved us. Every time we spoke, when we said hello and when we said goodbye, when we called her, every call ended with 3 I love yous and 2 tsuluyu. Every time we called or visited, she said, why don't you call more or visit more? And I would say, I'm calling you now, or I'm here now visiting you. But it wasn't enough, because she could never get enough of us. And that kind of love helps to make a person more human and more whole. And she made us more whole and more complete. Thank you. Babushka, we're calling you now, and we're visiting you in our hearts. We'll keep calling you. Every time we think of you, we'll be calling you. I'll think of you when we're having dinner on Sundays and wish that you were sitting next to me and Bodhi and laughing together. I'll think of you when we eat dessert and remember how much you loved your slatke food. I'll think of you when I hear singing on the holidays and remember how you love to sing. I'll think of you when I look at my mom or Luba or Fira and feel grateful that you taught them to love and care for their families. I'll think of you when I tell Bodhi about his babushka Klara and teach him to carry on your love for life. Our babushka just wanted to be remembered and often asked me if I'll remember her. Yes, we'll all remember her.
If you're able, please rise now for El Malay Rachamim. El Malay Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamse Menocha Nechona Tachat Chanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Atohorim, Kazor Rakia Mazirim, Et Nishmat, Kela Bat Niso Vefrima, Shalacha Laolama. Bal harachamim, ashtirechu beseter kenafav laolamim. V'yitzrar bitzra hachim et nishmata, anaychu nahalata. V'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our beloved Klara Rozichneru, known in our tradition as Kela bat Niso V'frima, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen. Amen. Please be seated for just a few moments. We're going to proceed from here to Beit Olam Cemetery for burial. And I know Stuart's going to ask for the pallbearers. I want to thank everyone for their beautiful personal words.